Hey you guys, it's Tonya, and a few months ago I shared with you a couple of the paint systems in other videos. I've done a wood grain one and I've done the rusty metal one, and I'll put links to those videos down below for you guys. So today I want to explore this paint system that I just got from Tattered Angels, and this is called aged silver, tarnished silver, excuse me, bare metal tarnished silver. So in these kits, they retail for about $19.99, and they come with 4 bottles of glimmer, and I think they're like the 1-ounce bottles. You're also going to get in here a complete instruction guide on how to achieve the look. So, and it's in full color, which is great because there are very few products out there that will actually give you a full color instruction set. So it says step by step what to do. So also in these mediums, you usually get 4 bottles of some type of medium at one of the Tattered Angels medium lines. And in this case, we're going to have this glaze, which is the soft pewter glaze. And then this one is a sterling glimmer mist, which is kind of a nice little soft charcoal silver color. And decadent chalkboard, which is a glimmer mist. And then iron chalkboard, which looks like it might also be a glimmer mist, and it's got it's a really nice dark rich black color. Okay, so those are our paint systems that we're going to use. They're colors that we're going to use, and this video is going to be in 2 parts because I want to actually use the systems and show you how to use them, but then I want to make a card with the pages that we create too. So let's get started. Now, anytime I feel like I need to ask the question of what if, I decide to just play and do. So one of my big questions was, since I was going to make a card out of this, what if the page was already embossed? Now I think I know the answer to this question, but because I'm asking the question of what if, I've decided to go ahead and paint a pre-embossed page at the same time. In theory, I think that the embossing is going to, because the paper is going to get wet, the embossing is going to go away, and it may be better to emboss it after it's already dry, but we're going to play and see. If I cough through this video, I'm very sorry, but I have the ending stages of pneumonia, and when I talk, it tickles my throat a little bit, so pardon me if I cough. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is we want to begin with the soft pewter, which is this color, and we're going to shake it up really good, and we want to use a fan brush on this to get the technique that we want. And I think I want to turn this way so everything's going in the same direction. And we want to use a fan brush on this one. And what we're going to do is drip just pieces of the soft pewter onto our project. So we need to make sure we shake it up really good because we don't want all of that glam or glitter there on the bottom. We want different size spots, and I guess you could use a really thick round brush to do the same thing. And it's going to be hard for me to get that fan brush down inside that bottle, but I'm going to do my best. Let me make sure. Okay, so I'm going to put this down in the bottle. Now with these, you want to make sure that you clean these off immediately with this glam and this glaze, because it has got it's got a medium in it that will cause it to thicken up on your brush. Okay, so see, I'm just flicking this all over, and this is going to give us spots. Now the glazes have a resist in them, so I think what's going to happen is this stuff's going to resist in these areas. I'm starting out with manila cardstock. You could do white to probably get the purest of colors. I wanted the brownish undertone, so I started with manila. Just do a little bit more on this one card. And you want different spots, which is why they tell you to use. Now don't cover it all up. I have a tendency to go overboard. So I'm going to put my fan brush to the side. Cover up your medium so you don't pull it over. Then the next thing we want to do is, while the soft pewter is still wet, we're going to add the sterling. Clean this up just a little bit around here so I don't get it all over me. Okay, so we're going to add the sterling. So again, you want to shake it up really good. And we only want to add a few sprays of this. Let me push this out of the way. You want it to pool. See how that glaze is resisting? And you want it to pool. It's okay if it pools up. You want it to puddle. Okay, so there's that color. And again, that was the sterling. And then the next color you want is add the iron. So we're going to probably add in the decadent. No, iron is the black color, the charcoal color. So now we're going to add this. You want a very light coat of this color. Just very little. Okay. Now, while it's still wet, we're going to add the decadent. And you're going to add it right to the spots where the black was. And see how I'm just letting it puddle up? You don't want a lot of it because this is your rust value. So you don't want it to be too much. So now we're going to dry it. Let's see what we get. It's already looking cool to me. And every time I use these systems, the papers, they turn out completely different than the time before. So it's really cool to get a really nice variation, which is what happens in nature. So it's really cool. Now you don't want to dry this completely. You still want these colors to mix a little bit. So I'm not going to heat them for too long. I want them to stay somewhat wet. Just think this is so cool. Look at how pretty it already is. And I think adding that manila cardstock, what if we did this on gray cardstock? You know, that might be my next what if question. Because I think the base of the cardstock that you start out with definitely depicts the final color and gives you a nice, interesting, look. Okay, so these are not completely dry yet. And I'm going to come back in with my sterling silver and I'm going to spray one more time all over. And that's going to mix these colors up and give it that rich steel tone that we're looking for. And if you find that you're using one system more than the other, then by all means buy full bottles of these colors because, it's the same glam and glitter that you guys have been using for years. It's just put into a thing where you mix the colors together. So if you do find that, like this one, for example, my sterling silver is almost gone because I've used it before. You're finding that you're using it a lot, then by all means, buy the full bottles and just use the technique. So there we go. There's our metals. Let me get this completely dry. Now another thing, this is all looking very splattery, but another thing you could do is when you add your black coat, instead of putting it on with, you know, spraying it on, you could fan it on, you know. That would give you another look. So there's that one. Isn't that cool? These papers are very wet, so it's going to be hard to pick them up. But look at how cool that is. And again, let me pick up. Actually, let me take my baby wipe here and wipe off my fan brush. Get that glam off of there. Pick up some more of this black and just work it in. But because you started out with the resist, those areas that were, you know, splattered with that resist are not covering, which is really cool. I'm going to put just a little more black on here. Pick it up with my fan brush and just kind of give it streaks in this one and see what it looks like. I mean, it might look terrible, but we're playing and we're doing the what if game. So, you know, this is how you learn. This is how you learn techniques and you make things unique in yourself. You know, if I follow the directions on everything, then nothing is me. So, I like how that looks. It's kind of giving it that tarnished look. But now let's come back with a baby wipe and see what happens. You know, just kind of smooth it in a little more. And see how I'm getting a little darker tone. I'm doing just a very light touch, a very light circular motion, and it's blending those colors even more into that fabric of the paper. Now what if I splotch it a little bit? So, you know, just get in there and play with your designs and see what you can come up with. Look at how that just changes the way that looks. So cool. And this is just a baby wipe, and all I'm doing is going into those areas that weren't covered completely with medium. I'm taking the overspray that's on my mat with a baby wipe, and I'm just pouncing it into the paper. So I'm going to get a different textured look on this sheet than I had on the other two. And I think of all of them, this one is my favorite one. I really like that. So this one was pounced, and this one was rubbed. And this one was swiped with the fan brush, and you know, I did this. So I have these streaks, and all of these techniques were done. Now, I'm not crazy about this one, so I'm going to come in here and just pounce a little over those streaks. It's not going to change the way that it looks too much, but it will change it a little bit. And you know, you just keep adding layers of color, and you're going to change the look of it anyway. So if you're not happy with it, just instead of tossing it, just add another layer of color over the top. Like, come back in with maybe this color, like, and just kind of flick it on there. And it'll give it a nice top coat. Look at how cool that is. Okay, so I'm going to finish drying these, and then once they're dry, I'm going to come back with video number 2, and we're going to do a card, card with one of these. Now, the question is, what about the embossing? Well, I was wrong. The embossing is still there, but I haven't done any real rubbing on this, but the embossing is still there. It's hard to see, but it is still there. Once it's dry, maybe I can come back with some Distress ink over the top to kind of bring those out a little more. But my texture is there. What I would recommend is I started out with the Tim Holtz folder. There's a lot going on this folder. Maybe a simple shape, like a hammered metal look, would be more appropriate. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll come back when these are all dry, and we'll do a card. Thanks.